Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to an episode of Bulldrek Reviews Anime. My name is Bull, and as always, this video is brought to you by the wonderful support of my Patreon campaign backers. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon campaign, seeing the videos that I do, and some of the creative writing efforts that are available exclusively to my Patreon backers, please check out the link in the description below, patreon.com/Bulldrek. Alright, so this week we're going to be talking about ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, Episode 16. Alright, so this episode picks up right where we left off last episode with Subaru having seen everybody killed brutally once again. And this time when he resets, he's pissed. Unfortunately, as we find out, a pissed Subaru is not exactly a rational Subaru. And Subaru is kind of an idiot at the best of times. He gets the bright idea to try to approach the various ruler candidates, starting with Krush, the ruler candidate that he was staying with, who was helping to heal his mana. He approaches her first to try to raise an army and attack the witch cultists before they can attack the village and the castle that Amelia is at. Unfortunately, he's rather crazed about it. This whole thing. He's just insane. He's ranting, he's raving, and he's not doing a very good job of winning anybody over. And he does pretty much does a good job of alienating Krush. He goes to Priscilla, the kind of arrogant one that thinks the world revolves around her. He goes to her next. She basically tricks him into groveling and begging, and then still kicks his butt and kicks him out. He runs into Anastasia, who was the one that was kind of all about money and deals, and she basically tricks him into giving him information about Krush and about Amelia, and then doesn't really help him a whole lot, although she does hook him up with a dragon cart this time around, so that he and Rem can get back to the castle. The final ruler candidate, besides Amelia, Felt, is nowhere to... She's not around for this episode. Rem goes to try to rally some of the knights to see if they'll help, but they've heard lots of rumors about witch cultists, none of them ever being substantiated, so they think it's just another wild goose chase, so they refuse to help without any concrete evidence. And Reinhardt, who is Felt's knight, is specifically mentioned to be out of town on business. We also find out that Roswell is not at the castle either when it was attacked. He is busy off. He had to go to a meeting with some other nobles or something along those lines. So he's not around as well to help out, which is one of the reasons why his big magic wasn't there. So Subaru's kind of in a pinch. He basically spends this episode running around like a chicken with his head cut off, pissed off, but unfortunately just ranting, raving, and yelling at everybody that could possibly help him. He does learn a lot of interesting little things. Like, for instance, he learns that Krush is buying up a lot of weapons and iron. Sounds like she's preparing for war, possibly. But ultimately, he finds out some stuff that will be helpful possibly on his next trip through, assuming there is one. Because now he knows a little bit about how each of the ruler candidates thinks. So hopefully, once he's a little more rational, he'll be able to use this information and actually make friends with them rather than alienating them the way he is. He hasn't proven himself trustworthy. None of them know him. None of them have seen the heroic side of Subaru that Rem and Amelia and them have seen. So, unfortunately, they don't have any goodwill towards him to begin with. And then when he just starts running around like... And what they have seen of him has been him being an idiot. And getting kicked to the curb by Amelia here in the capital city. So, you know, he's kind of just being stupid. The episode ends with him and Rem heading to the castle. They end up running into a caravan. Among the caravan is the merchant that Subaru ended up hiring a cart from last episode for one of his trips through. And this time around, he ends up basically buying their services. The merchant has a bunch of oil that he's been carrying around that he can't sell because apparently the price has dropped for some reason. They don't really cover exactly why, but Subaru hires him and hires all the wagons to cart people. His idea is that they'll go and they're going to try to get to the village and evacuate the village using these merchants and their carts. However, along the way, he ends up talking to this guy in a bandana briefly. But then Subaru mentions him to the merchant, and the merchant says, there wasn't anybody there. I don't know what you're talking about. So I don't know what that is all about. However, then this fog comes up out of nowhere, and then this giant eye opens next to Subaru, and it looks kind of like a lizard eye almost. My first thought was that it was the head of a dragon, maybe. But hard to say. You don't really get a good look at it. And for all I know, it's the same eye of that giant cat dog critter thing that we saw at the end of last episode. I don't think so, but that's a possibility. Don't really know what's going on. We do have another 7 deadly sin mentioned in this episode, but I don't think it was a specific call out for that, because the episode's name is Greed as a Pig, and but it was a reference to Subaru where he gets called greedy like a pig or something like that by Priscilla. So Subaru does not die at the end of this, but there's something with a giant eyeball that's as big as the cart that Subaru is driving on, right next to him. So there's every possibility that we're going to start the next episode off with Subaru getting turned into something's lunch. Overall, not a bad episode. It wasn't as, like I said, it wasn't as gripping as the last episode because it wasn't as visceral and as just brutal as that last episode was. Holy crap, was that last episode just miserable. But at the same time, this one was a little more emotionally miserable because we just see Subaru is just disintegrating. He is losing his mind, and he's not coping well. But he's starting to come around. He's starting to come out of it, and hopefully he's taking in this information about all these people around him, so that when he starts his next loop, he can actually start working towards fixing everything. But we'll see. Who knows? Overall, really good episode. Like I said, not quite as good as last episode, but still really solid. I'm still loving this show. I still think it's really fantastic. And I look forward to next week's episode. So, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you thought in the comments below. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, please click like. If you're interested in seeing more videos or, catching more videos in the future, click subscribe. Please check out my Patreon link in the description below. And that'll be it for me for this week. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.